YouTube, this is Darkon633 back with another Super Sentai review. Today we're going to take a look at the Lupinranger vs. Patoranger Deluxe Scissors and Blade Doll Fighter 2-pack. Now this is actually one of the more unique doll fighters we've gotten, or just any of the VS vehicles that we've gotten in this entire series, and that's because this is technically a 2-for-1 deal, since it is two different vehicles that are separated with two different abilities. Anyways, we'll now take a look at the presentation and contents. To start off, we're going to take a look at the box. The box is rather small. It's a little smaller than your usual Versus vehicle, from what I could tell. It has a picture of the Blade and Scissors, or should I say Blade and Scissors, doll fighters. And it has a picture of the LupinKaiser formation with it. And on the side, do have some promotional images. The back, which shows that it can work with the formations, although it is mostly for LupinKaiser. On the side, we got another look at the vehicle. And on the top, we see how it works again with the mecha. So now we're going to take a look at the contents. So in terms of contents, as I mentioned earlier, the only things you get in here are the two Versus vehicles, which can be separated since they are two separate pieces. But that's about it when it comes to the contents. So overall, since it pretty much comes with what you need to go ahead and do with the formations, etc., I give this a 5 out of 5. And now we're going to move on to the features. So first, we brought the VS changer here, so that we'll activate the sounds using that. Since this is two different mecha, you can separate it as mentioned earlier, and they'll have their own sets of sounds. So anyways, we'll now use the Blade Doll Fighter first. And with that, it summons the boomerang weapon for the Lupinrangers. So anyways, we're going to spin this around. And with that, we're able to summon the Blade Doll Fighter. Next, we're going to take the Scissors Doll Fighter and activate the sounds from there. And that summons the shield weapon used by the Lupinrangers. We're going to do it again to summon the Scissors Doll Fighter. So that's pretty much the main sounds when used with the VS changer. However, these mecha do have a few features on their own. So for the Blade Doll Fighter, you can pull out these blade pieces, and now you got this sword-looking weapon, which is actually used by LupinKaiser, which we'll look at in a minute. And for the Scissors Doll Fighter, you do need to activate a combination in the show in order to activate these forms, but similar to the previous mecha release so far, you could just spin around. There isn't anything specific you need to do. So basically what you do is this. Just spin around, and this will become unlocked. From there, you're able to move these pieces around and turn this entire unit like this, and now it becomes the attack mode, which summons a giant scissor weapon, as the name states. Because of this, this is an articulated piece, and it actually works pretty interestingly with the mecha, which we'll look at in a minute. So that pretty much covers the features of the doll fighters on their own. However, you can combine this with LupinKaiser, so we're going to bring LupinKaiser here now. And now we got LupinKaiser. You do need to remove the yellow doll fighter, since this will actually form another arm. What we're going to do is just quickly turn this back into attack mode, and it will actually plug into the port here. Now you do need to move it a bit, and these pieces do get in the way, unfortunately, in order to actually get it in properly. So basically, we're just going to move it so that it looks like this, and it will plug in here. Now, there's a couple of things you can do in order to get this into a good position. You can just leave it like that, and from the front view, it doesn't look too bad because the shield does face in this direction, so it just looks kind of natural there. However, when you look at it from the top, as you can see, there's a huge gap there, so it looks kind of weird. What you can do is just move this around so that it forms something like that, or if you just want it completely out of the way, you can place it like that, since it does have another area where you can actually put another weapon if you have it have one. But technically, the main formation is really something like this, where it just kind of sticks out like that. So you pretty much get the idea there. So we're just going to move that down. And we're going to take the Blade Doll Fighter, transform it back into the sword mode, and this is where he's able to hold on to it. So with that, we now form LupinKaiser Knight. Now it doesn't add any articulation for this arm since it really is just a weapon attaching, but as I mentioned earlier, you can play around with this, so you have a little bit more articulation there. So that pretty much covers the formation from LupinKaiser Knight. So I think this is a very nice formation. The main reason why I got this is because I really like sword and shields and mechas. So I'm glad we actually got something that forms a sword and shield, even though this is technically a scissor doll fighter, not a shield one, but you pretty much get the idea of what it goes on from there. So because they have a lot of features with this particular mecha, and since it is 2 separate units instead of just 1, I give this a 5 out of 5 since it does a lot more than what we usually see with these VS vehicles up to this point. So in terms of overall value, I got this at Amiami for just around $12 to $13. The retail price for this particular VS vehicle is around $20, so it's extremely fair for what you get, especially since you are getting technically 2 mecha for the price of 1. So with that, I give this a 5 out of 5. So that covers my review for the Deluxe Blade and Scissors Doll Fighter. I really like this set, and because it turns into a sword and shield, I really think this is one of the cooler kind of mechas that we've gotten with this entire series so far. However, there is actually a little bonus if you decided to get this during the time in April, since there was a campaign bonus going on, and with that, we're going to see what the campaign bonus was. So as mentioned, if you happen to get any of the VS vehicles during the campaign time in April, you were also possibly able to get a hold of the Hammer VS vehicle. This is a retool of the Blade Doll Fighter. As you can see, it's pretty much the same basis. Obviously, it does have a hammer piece rather than the scissor blade piece. And with that, you can actually plug this in, if you wish to, on top here, since it is utilizing pretty much the same sculpt design rather than the entire design as a whole. And with this, you also get a bonus Daiso card. I think it's still called Daiso. I'm not really sure if they changed the name over time. I didn't really follow the Japanese game. But it's still nice that it comes with a bonus card as well. As you can see, it does have some articulation there, since it does turn into a hammer weapon. And this is technically like a flight mode of some sort, so you pretty much get the idea. However, you can actually combine it with LupinKaiser, which we'll do next. Now that we got LupinKaiser back, what we're going to do is place the hammer like as if you're putting on the blade. And from here, apparently this form was called LupinKaiser Hammer Knight. So this is a pretty nice form. I really do like the design of the hammer, especially with the chrome design, which I didn't actually mention earlier. And not to spoil anything for those who haven't watched the show up to this point, there actually was a pretty cool explanation of how this hammer appeared on the show. So I really do like the fact that we got a new campaign bonus versus vehicle, or VS vehicle should I say, and I think this turned out very nice. So overall, that concludes my review for the Deluxe Scissors and Blade Doll Fighter, as I mentioned earlier. So I highly recommend tracking this down if you're a fan of Kaitou Sentai Lupinranger versus Keisatsu Sentai Patoranger, since I think this is a very nice piece, and it looks really nice when you're using it with the formations. Anyways, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and check out Hero Club and Hirotaku. Also check out Tuner Darkon 633, and don't forget to check out the other channels down below. Please check the little bell at the bottom of the screen in order to see my content go up as soon as possible. I'm back with more Super Sentai reviews. For now, I'll be seeing you later, YouTube. Bye.